Welcome back. Nigerians question Tinubu's legal push to block U.S. case files. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into this. A massive political storm has erupted across social media and opposition circles today following fresh legal motions filed by President Bola Tinubu's legal team in the United States. Citizens and political observers are raising heavy questions over the administration's continued effort to seal and block access to historical U.S. court documents. Opposition figures are accusing Aso Rock of prioritizing personal legal secrecy over public transparency, arguing that an incumbent president's past records should remain completely open to public scrutiny as 2027 approaches. Ladies and gentlemen, this legal tug of war is in foreign courts has once again spilled directly into our local political landscape, while presidential defenders insist that the legal findings are standard defense measures against bad faith political opponents trying to dig up settled matters. The streets are asking why these documents remain such a heavily guarded secret. Is this ongoing legal battle an unnecessary distraction orchestrated by opposition lawyers, or does the public have an absolute right to total transparency from the man in Aso Rock? Ladies and gentlemen, we have a fantastic show lined up for you today. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. We'll be right back. Welcome back, sir. How are you doing, sir?
Good to be back. I'm doing great. And how are you doing as well?
I'm doing great. Let's jump right into it. So Nigeria questions Tinubu's legal push to block U.S. case files. Does he have the right? Do we have the right to transparency, or he has the right to secrecy? What's your take, sir?
Having been elected president of Nigeria and commander-in-chief, which in itself places a huge moral and, let's say, legal obligations on him, there can be any doubt that he would have to do more than this feeble, although very serious, attempt at blocking facts of who he has been, where he has been, how he has lived, because coming to public space to want to offer something in terms of leadership quality also entails that there must be total openness, transparency, and operating on the same page with the citizens, not just the citizens as well. When certain facts are kept secret from the public, what that portends in itself is that trust becomes something that suffers gravely and greatly. And then it also means that there is something somebody is trying to hide. And then in postmodern terms, particularly when it comes to space for politics and governance, everybody's got to be on the same page. Everybody's got to be honest and say and make total declaration that they are not in any way conflicted. I think this is the burden, and this is the couples of proof that President Bola Tinubu would have to contend with. Honestly, if things were saner, one would be suggesting that, okay, if you are not, if he does not want to put everything on the table for everybody to see, to scrutinize, to question, and to say, okay, you have passed this standard. And as they often say in Yoruba, if judged as somebody whose standard is below the bar, tí ìjọba ẹ̀ kùnà, he has to just, I mean, let go of some of these things. It is needless, and I think it is futile, and it would even be um, ungodly for him to continue to. I mean, if he says he didn't do anything wrong in the past, we just say, okay, let it all be out. We want it all out there. What is so difficult about that? But if you think that, okay, you carry some burden in terms of, and everybody's got a past. Oh, I was this. I am no longer that. I think somewhere in the Bible it was said concerning a particular Onesimus, he that used to rob, he who used to steal, should steal no more. You know, ẹni tó ń jalè kó má jalè mọ́. So, if he had such a questionable or let's say a sinister past, it is all about saying, yes, I was this. If he wants to apologize, fine. If he does not want to apologize, fine. But he could as well tell us, I am no longer that person. I am completely a changed person. After all, he's been running on change mantra all this while. So how come he doesn't want to extend that same kind of game to his personality that, okay, you guys got me here, or look at the records. The records are not saying what these people have always inferred or deduced. I'm not that person. This is who I am. Simple. But to continue to make this desperate attempt at blocking facts from coming out, and then people using this kind of situations as kind of compromise against him and against the great country Nigeria, I find really reprehensible. Not just reprehensible, I also find them questionable on the part of some of the Western nations that have been shielding the facts of what is involved in all this. Because at the end of the day, that is the standard they elevate, they play up to deal with the rest of us and make us look as if we were scoundrels of the earth. And we are not. We are more than scums of the earth. You know, we are more than the wretched of the earth. Apologies to the title of the great work by the psychiatrist Franz Fanon. You know, people just have to uphold standards. These children of the poor easily are sent to prisons and all kinds of facilities for falling below standard. But the strong, the rich, and the people in leadership get away with all kinds of things. And this is what this is about. People get too legalistic about some of these things. And my simple take on that is what you will find in a particular book of the Holy Bible, I think Romans, if it's a letter or an epistle, or whatever the title is there, talks of the letter killer. So being too legalistic, instead of operating simply, becomes worrisome. That will be my initial remark. So let all the facts be out. Let there be little or no more no more effort to block all things relating to the personality and issues of law involving Mr. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armies of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Hello, are you there? Hello, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, sir. I'm here. I can hear you.
All right. So
Continue, yeah.
let's continue. Yeah. I'm trying to ignore a
Okay.
call that is buzzing in.
No,
You
you're
may have
good. Continue.
Yeah, you may have follow-up questions on what I've said so far.
Yes. I think as usual, I think it's interesting to see how it plays out. Unfortunately, I can't help myself but to just see from all sides. I would generally, I see that oftentimes people just see one angle of these things. An average person sees one angle. I think he is the president, and he has the power to effect some of the leverage that he has, either at a personal level or for the sake of the office or for the sake of the election that's coming up in 2027. All in all, I think it's going to be interesting. The one person that keeps coming to mind in all of this is Reno Omokri. Reno Omokri, who was championing the trying to expose the President Bola Tinubu for the University of Illinois, that be University of Chicago, whichever one it is, right? During the last election saga. I think there may be more things that will come out anyway, but nonetheless, I think he's the president. He has the right to try to bury some of these things. I think the general public also has the right to ask for transparency, particularly because of the state of Nigeria right now. And this story that we have coming up is going to be interesting to assess, because I think it speaks to a lot of what's going on. I think there's too many moving variables, but best of luck in trying to bury this kind of stuff. But with Donald Trump in the office, I'm not sure if America has any moral right to not allow him to bury them too. So we'll see. What do you say? What do you say on that one, sir? So we can round up on this one. Are you there? Uh-oh. I can't hear him anymore. Are you there? He's frozen. All right, guys, we're still working on the device to try to fix the device, but let's see if we can get him back in momentarily. Hold on, hold tight. Let's see here.
Hello.
All right, welcome back, sir.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if you heard everything I said, but
I heard everything, and I was going to say
everything.
that. Yes. Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can see. I can hear you. Yes.
All right. So I was going to say, by way of conclusion, that of course you can see that because of such issues of transparency and total disclosure. All things are now flying around, and questions have even been asked about the standards, the moral component to the leadership in Nigeria at the moment. You see all kinds of people with um, all kinds of issues being selected, being appointed to the presidential campaign committee of the country. Even as I'm talking to you, people like Dino Melaye are questioning the fact that Mr. President is the chairman of his own campaign team. It's because they think that perennially and without any bait for, any breath of respite for now, that even people that are supposed to be facing trial, people that are supposed to be prosecuted, they are the people that are so prominent on the campaign team. And it's almost like, okay, there is a boat that floats so freely in Nigeria, and it is so welcoming because of the suspected character of Mr. President himself. It's so welcoming to all kinds of people with all manners of situations and conflicts and questions to just jump in and they're running the show. Books are not balanced. The accounts of the country are not balanced. And it's almost like, okay, when is this going to start? Where is the point where the plug is going to be pulled? So that said, we continue to watch, just like the position you took. We will reflect it from all sides. We are not saying that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is guilty of anything. We are not even saying that America, under the watch of President Donald Trump, is able to grant the wish of the Nigerian people. But we'll watch and let these things play out. And how that goes is the fact that we are beginning to know in our day, in our time, how systems run and how people run the system. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. All right, ladies and gentlemen, join the conversation. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications. We have some other trendy stories around the world, and we will be right back. All right, welcome back. Obi Ezekwesili slams Tinubu's reforms. And I quote, only foreign exchange stability is working. Former Education Minister and World Bank Vice President Dr. Obi Ezekwesili has dropped a blistering economy reality check on Aso Rock today. Speaking during a widely shared broadcast interview, Ezekwesili declared that the only thing working for President Tinubu's government so far is a temporary handle on macroeconomic foreign exchange stability. She argued that while foreign exchange volatility has quieted down, the administration's broader economic reforms have completely failed to translate into real benefits for ordinary citizens, pointing out that runaway inflation and skyrocketing poverty continue to crush households because the government implemented uncoordinated policies without structural productivity. SharpEdge Nation, this is a heavy blow to Aso Rock's economic narrative coming directly from a world-renowned policy expert. While government spokesperson point to rising federal revenues and stabilized exchange rates as proof of progress, Madam Due Process is reminding everyone that paper numbers mean nothing if the average citizen cannot afford food at the local market. Is Ezekwesili's brutal critique an accurate diagnosis of economy in distress, or is the administration just starting to lay the groundwork for long-term recovery? The sharp edge is yours to dissect, sir.
Thank you so much, Ola. And um, no other person would have given a reality that you look at as being brutally blistering, like what Dr. Ekwezeleze has just done. Unfortunately, you see, Nigerians are operating with a set of guys that are so terrific and terrible when it comes to handling information management. They will run wild with anything. If you tell them that they are crazy, they are not going to look at that idea of being crazy as a mental condition that needs to be addressed. They will tell you that, oh, they've just been applauded as being genius. That is the way um, the ruling party and the government in Nigeria um, most often choose to amplify very worrisome and perilous economic conditions amongst our people back home and generally on the continent. Why do I say this? A few moments ago, the spokesperson of the ruling political party in Nigeria, that is APC, Mr. Phillips Moka, a lawyer, and sometimes uh, um, extremely loquacious character, was misrepresenting and mischaracterizing the uh, this criticism from and critique of the situation by Kwesi as an endorsement as against what the position of former Vice President Atiku Abubakar is. And what are we talking about here? Who is better to know? Quite surely than somebody like Obi Ekwezeleze, who has operated at the highest level of global financial systems. Maybe at the time as the managing director of one of the Bretton Woods institutions. So for her to have come out that micro, that is, book economics, would not really translate to practical or what people call macro or applied economics. That the two may not really operate in concord and agreement most times. Nigerians are crying every day of hunger. Purchasing power is completely dwindled, if not outrageously eroded. And then somebody sits somewhere and says, oh, the country has followed, has been the best. And mark you, wherever endorsements come from IMF, World Bank, and IFC, that is International Finance Corporation, you really may be going under. You really may be going under. There are enough works as to the influence of the global financial system on the practical life of average citizens in most developed countries, starting from the master economic theories of Adam Smith, who wrote extensively in The Wealth of Nations in 1776 and then eventually got published 1777, a year after America's War of Independence began. To most recent works of academic revolutionaries like Walter Rodney in the masterpiece called How Europe Underdeveloped Africa. There is no model anywhere. Brazil, that used to drown under the weight of international loans way back and elsewhere, no single country can say that oh, these bitter pills of economic reforms coming from the Bretton Woods institutions have ever savaged any nation. And then for these people who have offered themselves as the modern equivalent of those who would keep their people in chains and ship them and sell them cheaply for just anything in the name of being relevant or being shown the white man's shining set of teeth is almost appalling. People are drowning, they are crying by the day, and not just you and I, everybody listening to us tonight who lives overseas in the diaspora would tell you that they receive deluge of requests of financial assistance and all kinds of cries for help from people back in Nigeria, and then the government there say, is doing the unthinkable. Look at the list of the so-called presidential campaign committee in Nigeria, more than 500 people. How much is it going to cost them? If what we were told last week by Davido, the prominent Afrobeat maestro, who through support the way of his uncle to become the re-elected governor of Osun State, Southwest Nigeria, saying close to 110 billion naira was spent on the election in Osun, which at any rate was won by the people of Osun State, returning their much-loved dancing governor back to office in person of Nuruddin Jackson Ademola Adeleke to office for second term. You would understand what the implication of this is. I mean, the government is spending so recklessly. The books are not balanced. The minister of finance came out laying it out that the country generated about 15 trillion. How much has been secured? I mean, has been taken in loan vis-a-vis that, and then for the whole argument about, because we are still going to touch on that in the subsidy section. But for all of that, is the economy really swinging the right way? Of course not. If people are hungry, they are hungry. Nobody can hide that fact. I have also heard the position elsewhere that, middle class is coming back to Nigeria since they are closing the bottom. The reality is that the gap between the have-not and those who have has widened in a way that is so astonishing and unbelievable. So, Obi Ekwesilize, Madam Due Process, as she is fondly known, is striking it where it is, but the spin the administration is putting on it is completely different. They are amplifying it that, she is endorsing them, and that this is what will counterpunch or counterpose against the position of the opposition political figures who are wrestling the whole thing as the presidential debate season gets underway in Nigeria. Beyond what the government is saying, beyond what the Bureau of Statistics is dishing out, beyond what opposition politicians are saying as well, I think what would help us in this time and season is for each of us, Nigerians, home and abroad, to check our books, wherever it looks like this thing is not adding up as against the statistics being given to us by the government and by individuals across the country. Let us take our decisions from the art. Let us, I mean, be capable of some deep critical thinking and rational choices, and say that no, that is not the way things should be. People should not be manipulative, because manipulation that you see there is the extreme of witchcraft and wickedness. You are not even going to find any witch flapping the wings or sailing on a broomstick anywhere. It is about manipulation and twisting the truth, and then afflicting the mental alertness and the wellness of citizens. And citizens have they have that unique responsibility of rescuing their minds from people who just want to assault them with wrong information, deliberately planted just because they want to continue to put people in servitude and slavery. Thank you, Allah.
Thank you so much, sir. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please join the conversation. Join the conversation. We have some other trendy stories around the world, and we will be right back. Welcome back. All right, so subsidy debate. ADC shifting clarifies Atiku's position on hardship. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications. The fierce national debate over fuel subsidies has taken another sharp political turn today. Addressing recent criticism from government loyalists, a prominent African Democratic Congress ADC chieftain clarified that former Vice President Atiku Abubakar's continuous calls regarding the fuel subsidy regime are aimed strictly at reviewing policies to reduce systemic economic hardship on ordinary Nigerians, not a demand to return to the corrupt old system. The chieftain argued that the current administration's execution of reform policies has choked the middle class without providing adequate social safety cushions. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a central battle line for the 2027 election cycle. While the government accuses opposition leaders of wanting to drag the country back to fiscal ruin, opposition strategists argue that reform without empathy is simply economic punishment for the poor. Is Atiku offering a realistic, compassionate recalibration of economy policy, or is the opposition simply exploiting the common man's pain at the petrol pump for political gain? Give us the word, sir. Let's have it.
Thank you very much, Allah. And very interesting departure note, a point of departure for all characters involved in the Nigerian presidential scuffle and struggle at the moment. First, it was Omoyele Sowore, given his respect. Mr. Omoyele Sowore was the first person to make that position known, that he would return subsidy. And then Atiku Abubakar, former vice president, also took that position that he's going to bring subsidy back, but not in the way that it was used to service the avarice, the whim, and greed of certain privileged individuals. And the spokesperson of Atiku Abubakar, I've forgotten his name now, the man that featured in the prominent movie, Living in Bondage, that had his own trouble with his former principal, Mr. Peter Obi, the lawyer, Nigerian actor. So he
You're
has
talking
come
about
out.
Kenneth Okonkwo,
Kenneth
Abi?
Okonkwo, yes, Kenneth Okonkwo. Honestly, he did a very brilliant job of breaking it down. Uh, I've never doubted his brilliance or how cerebral this man is, but totally now he swept me off my feet. And it's so brilliant. He communicated it to the masses, you know. He did a very brilliant job of breaking it down to the people what the regime of this new uh, first subsidy removal by Bola Ahmed Tinubu is. Vis-a-vis what Atiku Abubakar was, is espousing, you know. And I would recommend that people should go and check out that interview by Kenneth Okonkwo. Now, what Okonkwo explained and what I understand by what Atiku Abubakar has said about bringing back subsidy, not the way it was done for certain privileged Nigerians who would bring badges of refined petroleum products, would over invoice. You know what over invoicing is anyway. They will bring a certain volume of petroleum refined products into the country, say like uh, 1 million liters. They will prepare all kinds of paperwork. They will cook the books to say that, oh, they brought in, say, 4 or 5 million. Instead of being paid accurately for 1 million liters, they will be paid for 6 million. And now, ultimately, the 1 million liters would find that just a fraction of that would be available for Nigerians to use. Some of it, again, have been overpaid for what they dubiously declared that they brought into Nigeria. A fraction, sizable, tangible fraction of what they brought in would be sold across the borders. They're just killing the system, making money off the back of Nigerian masses. Atiku said that is not going to be the situation. But that, say for instance now, Mr. Aliko Dangote runs a refinery that is doing well by all mail, that is doing very well. But he is not given what he would need in terms of crude allocation, crude oil allocation that will be refined to the other value chains of that resources, or that resource. So he is saying that he will make that readily available. And people are now saying that, oh, but some of these crude oil stuff have been pledged by way of loan to guarantee some international loans. So the question now arises that where is the benefit of the loans that you said you took, against which you have now pledged years, if not decades, of Nigerian crude oil to pay back? That money is not on the ground. And so the Minister of Finance of Nigeria popped up last week and said, oh, Nigeria has realized from subsidy savings over maybe 15 trillion naira. But what is the debt profile of Nigeria vis-a-vis that? And they are also touting the fact that, oh, Nigeria now has over maybe $50 billion in foreign reserve. So is that how to make a system productive? You have that money in that foreign, what's it called? In Nigeria's foreign account, How is it serving the interests of the Nigerian people? No wonder people are hungry everywhere there, And further probe is showing that that wealth is not spreading. Patronage of whatever government is investing all these trillions of money on is not really showing visibly. Just a single company linked to Shagori Brothers is seen as taking substantial amount of money being realized by Nigeria by way of contract award that is not even competitive. All these things are broken down to the bit, and in the final analysis, the Nigerian voter, Nigerian electorate, or call them maybe the Talakawas or the Mekunus, the poor, they are at the receiving end of the entire structure, the entire spectrum. And then it is said that this whole thing is a mirage. It looks like it's there as subsidy removal, but Nigeria still finds a way of subsidizing some greedy merchants, some greedy wealthy persons somewhere. So that no subsidy was even in the first place removed for Nigerian poor. It's always been a game between the rich, and that the rich people are playing the poor in Nigeria. Simple. So this things must be broken down so that every Nigerian has this information at the tip of the fingers. They should know who is lying, who is telling the truth. It is an unfolding situation. It is an unfolding drama. And for my good friend, that is saying he's going to bring back the subsidy. We know that America, as the most prominent or the greatest capitalist country in the world, still give some form, still give a subsidy in one form, or in one shape or the other. For example, the oil industry enjoys so much subsidy every year so that the pump price of fuel, of gas, does not kill you and I in this country every day. That is a kind of a strategic intervention by the US government. For example, if a given family is not making, is not having enough income to a certain threshold, that does not mean that any child should stay home for any given day without showing up for classes, from elementary to high school diploma level. And then even in the university, there are several arrangements like grants, like scholarships, like student loans. But in Nigeria today, what is being touted as the genius stroke from the government, from Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is NEFON, which is nothing other than deferred payment over loans that and you look at the the so-called loans. People say we should applaud them, we should thank them, but don't forget that in America, when you are given that student loan, it could afford you the opportunity of even buying your first car. It could afford, it could afford you some pocket money after you must have paid the cost of your books, boarding, everything that you need. But at the end of the month, what does the average Nigerian student have? 20,000 naira. For university students, if you are not reducing these university students who are young adults, if you are not reducing them to the level of what they should not be, that is, children still going through Head Start programs, just getting introduced to nursery rhymes, what have you. How does a young adult survive on 20,000 naira in a month in Nigeria. And then that opens the avenue to all kinds of stuff. So comparing between this subsidy removal, the thing has to be revisited, it has to be scrutinized. Wherever the government is not doing well, it should firm itself up. Wherever is doing doing well, it should be commended. But to make it look like, oh, it is kumbaya now, people can sing for the resurrection of Nigeria coming from the bouncing back from the back of the beyond. It's just something I find so awful. And it is a conversation that must continue, particularly between those who are contesting the presidency at the moment. But as it is not enough. I mean, you just look at it. A prominent Nigerian actor has just died, stage 4 cancer. Even if that person had wanted to do so much to detect that condition, that health condition so early, the facilities are not there. And then
I think you're frozen now, sir. I think you're frozen. Yeah, you're frozen. I'm gonna try to push you out so that you can come right back in. Okay. Here we go. All right. Hello? Ẹ try àti wọlé padà. Ẹ try àti wọlé padà. Ó yẹ kẹ́ ti round up anyway.
Lola,
Yeah, can you hear me, sir?
I should.
Come on in, come on in.
I can hear you. Can you hear
All
me?
right. Yeah, I can hear you. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can round up, summarize that, and then we'll move on into the final segment.
Well, in summary, what I'm saying is that the debate should continue on this subsidy of a thing. But it is remarkable that they are not sharing themselves apart other than bringing up issues. And I look at the issue of this subsidy removal or return, I mean, in one form, shape, or the other, as a good start concerning the presidential debate. Wherever we want them to take us, or where we want to lead the campaign, must be dictated by the people. And all the lies, all the deceptions, because for me, I mean, reporting on issues of subsidy removal over the years, starting from the time of the presidency of President Olusegun Obasanjo, up till now, I don't know if Nigerians actually had any subsidy in place. All I just see is some leaders in Nigeria grabbing substantial part of the Commonwealth, running away with it, and just deceiving the people like, oh, subsidy has to be taken, and they are getting wealthier. Are you listening, Ola?
I'm listening. If you're
Yes,
sorry, quickly, sir,
yes.
move the camera towards your right hand side a little bit more. Towards the orange flower a little bit. Just so you're centered. A little bit more, more. No, not that way, the other way around. There you go. Okay, perfect. Sit down, sit back. There you go. All
So,
right. Yeah, all right.
yes. So
Okay.
that is just the situation. All I see
That's
is
just that.
the political elites and the rich elites taking so much and deceiving the people that, oh, they need that. I mean, they need that stuff. The people would have to sacrifice some more. I don't, I don't see the proof of that in the system, which is why somebody who has never been known to have some wonder spinning factories or what's it called, industrial capacity, is now the chairman or whatever, the director general of the campaign of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And I was told he had bought some stakes in a company that used to be controlled by Otedola in terms of power generation or whatever for over $750 million. Where did he get all that money? Just being the governor of Zamfara at the time. And look at how destitute the people of Zamfara are. So you begin to wonder, where are the resources going from illegal mining in Zamfara? Why is there so much banditry in Zamfara? Check the pocket of our leaders. That is where you go find the answer. God bless.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are getting ready for the final leg. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified whenever we go live. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. So, in the US courts, lawyers are fighting over whether President Tinubu's private documents should be opened or sealed from the public. In the studio, Dr. Obi Ezekwesili is telling the world that the only thing working in Aso Rock is foreign exchange stability while inflation is punishing the poor. And in the opposition camps, Atiku's allies are assisting the reviewing of the fuel subsidies, and they're saying it isn't about bringing back corruption, but about saving citizens from starvation. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, now we move into the final segment. We've had the news. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us for our dialogue is the man himself, our publisher, editor-in-chief, and the I-chief, Oladimeji Abitogun. Welcome back, sir.
Good to be back, Ola, and thanks for doing this with me every week.
So the special today, what do you have for us today, sir? Outside of the unfortunate passing of Mr. Taiwo Azan Ogogo, one of Nigeria's Nollywood's finest, who passed on yesterday after a long battle with cancer, it seems. Yes. What do you have for us today, sir?
Oh, yeah. I also have a special message for the Director General of Department of State Services in Nigeria, Mr. Tosin Ajayi. And we'll get back to that topic shortly. But concerning the passing of Mr. Taiwo Hassan, popularly known as Ogogo, as a stage name.
We're working with about 6 more minutes, sir, just so you know.
Okay. Now, it's such a sad situation. From family sources, we gathered that Mr. Ogogo had been treating a condition that was previously diagnosed as ulcer. Was he misdiagnosed with also instead of knowing practically that what he probably was dealing with was the early stage of this cancer. This particular type of cancer we do not know. Maybe it's pancreatic, maybe is whatever. Any form of cancer is bad. And then another thing is how people are readily available to take undue advantage of people with debilitating diseases.
With terminal disease.
Mm-hmm. Yes. For example, when I was diagnosed with stuff last year, around April 2025, it was the early stage of prostate cancer. That panic setting and the realization, in spite of the fact that I've always been a big advocate of the need for people to shun ignorance and embrace medicine and science and practical solutions to serious health challenges, and then to always go in to check vitals. I ran into a situation in which I was going to be migged of millions, which anyway I do not have. I'm a person of modest means. So, and you find all kinds of individuals on radio channels, social media, newspapers, what have you, touting alternatives whose veracity cannot really be proved. Some of these advertised therapies and solutions are not efficacious, and people should just really approach such alternatives with caution. Now, we all are going to miss them. Taiwo Hassan Ogogo, I met him a few times in the course of my career. Very tall man, and for a diminutive person like me, my stature just a bundle of a 5 point whatever situation or attitude, and you see this towering and looming figure, Ogogo, and his a friend, Masomo, that is Mr. What do you call him, Masomo now?
Kura Matete, Yinka Quadri.
Jinka Quadri, yes. So, I mean, the twin brother that Ogogo lost while a child was made up for by Yinka Quadri. And I could see video of a Quadri weeping, so profusely like a baby. And then I know somebody like Mr. Dele Odule will miss him, and so many other people. But he really made us healthier, entertaining us. And I pray that he would be granted a sweet repose. People that are callous, that can be so extreme in their viewpoint. There's no point praying for the dead. Yes, I sometimes share such sentiment, but really, I think he's now in a better place, because the pain of cancer is not something that any fickle-minded person can even think of. It's not something you want to wish for your enemy, talk less of somebody that is so much beloved. Adil, Taiwo Hassan Ogogo, Omokulodo Lodo. Yeah.
Wow. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
All right. So
then to the DSS, to the call on the DSS Director General, Mr. DSS Director General Tosin Ajayi, I'm bringing to your attention the unprofessional conduct or misconduct of one of your subordinates. I do not know his name, but if you go to the police station at Obaile in Akure North local government, the divisional police office there, A young man whose name was identified as Lucky, a Lantang uh, indigene from Plateau State, was caught. He had broken into my house a few weeks back and he stole some desktop computers meant for the operations of SharpEdgeNewsTV.com operations in Nigeria. He was caught and by the neighborhood watch people, and he confessed that he had stolen so many things from my house there, and those things were sold to people who were in the habit of receiving stolen goods. What one would expect that the police would investigate to the latter and then make him to face prosecution. In fact, it would be pleasing to me to have seen that man do settlements both for the criminal aspect and the civil aspect. Alas, an operative of yours who was alleged to be in Abuja decided to wield a big stick and then said the man should be released to him. He was going to be extradited to Abuja for investigation and subsequent trial. And then my question was, how could that be possible for a crime that happened in Akure North local government, namely on my property located on Oladimeji Abitogun way, Baile there. And now they gave him the custody of that child, only for us to learn later that that boy was judicially executed. He was murdered. So, sir, that DSS official must be uncovered. He must be unmasked, and then must be made to answer for the crime of carrying out extrajudicial killing. Nigerian law does not allow for that. And he stole from me. I was not even given the evidence. I was not given the opportunity of pursuing my case or as a witness to the Commissioner of Police in Ondo State or the government prosecution office in this matter. And I do not know where an operative of DSS would become the prosecutor, the judge, and the executor over a matter that does not concern him at all. It was said that he claimed that the guy also broke into his house. That was not established to the best of my knowledge. So could he have executed, could he have chosen the option of killing this person in an extrajudicial way in order to cover his own tracks? Was there any conspiracy between the two of them that would make him to want to dispatch that person in a most criminal fashion? So, sir, I want answers. And seriously, I've been violated in Nigeria, so much so that in spite of my condition as somebody struggling with blindness and what have you, I don't even have the confidence to come to Nigeria anymore. I have a serving member of the National Assembly today who defrauded and stole every equipment in my Lagos office. I have the late Governor Akeredolu and his son who decided to take over the office that was duly leased to me by Ondo State Property Owning Company. And then no compensation was paid, everything destroyed. And to think that Nigerian government has not done anything for any disabled person that I know, for anybody to be doing this to somebody serially, I think it's all wrong. Sir, I need answer. Thank you very much. I have chosen to speak for myself, to stand up for myself, if the system is not standing up for me. And then for that poor soul that was wasted that way, nobody was seeking revenge. We were asking for justice. And for this DSS operative to have operated this way in connivance with the police officers at the divisional police office in Obaile. It's really shameful. It shows the kind of country we run, just on the whims and caprice of people, rule of law, instead of a rule of men, or the poor discretion of certain people who see themselves as the high and the mighty. It's so shameful in this time and age. Thank you indeed.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. That will be it for this week. Hopefully, you've been enlightened, educated. Take care, and God bless. Bye now.